Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Boy Soda here with the Autumn Windbags, back with another one. What do you know? The Raiders lose due to just pathetic offensive play, and we fall to 2-6. What do you know? Played the Kansas City Chiefs today. Raiders lost 20-27 against the hated Kansas City Chiefs, who are still undefeated, 7-0. Up next, the Raiders have the Bengals at the Bengals, then the bye week. There's a lot to go over, but then there's also not a lot to go over, if that makes sense. The issues that we have is are offensive. Defense, they played fine. We didn't do a lot offensively to really keep Kansas City at bay. Kansas City had a lot of long drives. I think they had like a 19-play drive at one time. 8-play drive, 19-play drive, 9-play drive, 13 plays, 9 plays. Like, they had a lot of long drives. One thing that I will say is that we needed our main guys to make a play. It's not just offensively that we need to make a play. Jenkins tipped the ball and got an interception. That was a great play, but ultimately, teams like Kansas City, they don't beat themselves. You have to make a play yourself, either schematically or an individual play, and it just didn't happen today. It didn't happen today, and it was pretty sad to see when you see, Maxx Crosby did next to nothing. He had like 3 tackles or something like that. No tackles for loss, no sacks, no quarterback hits. We can't have our only star defensively do nothing. So I'm going to call Maxx Crosby out. Maxx Crosby, where were you? I don't want to hear I'm getting double teamed. Because the top guys in the league, they get double teamed every play. So we're gonna get to everybody. Get to everybody. So guys, before we go any further, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that like button if you hate the fucking Chiefs. Hit that like button hit that like button as if your life depended on it if you hate the Chiefs. On top of that, comment and subscribe. If you're not subscribed and you're watching this channel, what are you doing? All right, just subscribe. Get us over this 10K. We've been in a rut. I know it's weird. We've been around. It's like, I think, our 5th season or something like that. 4th season, 4.5, I think. And we're not at 10K subs. I don't know what's going on here. RJ and I aren't tween girls who can get 1 million freaking followers in 2 weeks. Get us over 10K and quit messing around. Not much to go off of here, guys. Not much to go off of. I'm gonna let you guys vent, and I'm gonna let you guys steer the topics here, but I want to get the main stuff out of the way. The main stuff out of the way is, I think, more so than anything, I didn't see a lot of egregious mistakes made by AP today. So that's kind of sad when you're like, hey, at least AP didn't really screw up today. That's how low the bar is for the head coach. I read an article earlier today about how word around the campfire in Raiderland is that 2 high-ranking assistants have pretty much checked out. That they kind of see the writing on the wall when the the whole Tom Brady thing happened, and that's Marvin Lewis and Rob Ryan. Which, honestly, what has Marvin Lewis? How has he showed his influence? I can't tell you. How has his influence? How has Marvin Lewis's influence been seen on the field? I don't want to hear about preparation. Oh, he really helps with preparation. And how has it shown up on the field? One of the things that really irks me, if you'll indulge me for a second, is people that really applaud things that don't matter. And I don't care how good somebody is at doing X, Y, or Z. How does it affect the product on the field? In my former life, I had a company. We were a consulting company. We went to different companies and kind of vetted them, and gave them different strategies and things like that, plans of action. There was a guy that was in a sales position, hadn't made a sale in I don't know how long, but they kept him around because the dude was really good for morale, and he brought in donuts, and he really cheered everyone on. And I'm thinking, like, what are we doing here? Are we running a cheerleading camp, or are we running a sales organization? What affects the bottom line? That's what we should be focusing on. Not Soul Train dance, dance lines, not making the rookies make fools out of themselves, stupid stuff like that. What affects the bottom line? Right now, it is very hard for me to conceive that an NFL team can rush for 1.6 yards per carry. That's exactly what we did today. We had 33 yards rushing today. 33 yards rushing. We ran the ball 21 times and got 33 yards. Zamir White ran the ball twice for -1 yard. Alexander Madison, who was, the shining light, 14 carries for 15 yards. It's not all on the backs. Our offensive line, not good. Jackson Powers Johnson, back-to-back penalties. Dude, we are regressing in areas that we were actually pretty good at earlier. Our red zone offense, dog shit. If you can't find a group, see, look, the group of players that you have on your team and on your practice squad, that's the responsibility of the GM. Who plays is the responsibility of the coaches. And if that's the best you can do, 1.6 yards per carry, everybody's on notice. Everybody is coming home from the game with a little note pinned on their shirt with a notice saying, if you don't get better, you're not going to be around too much longer. Every single coach. And I will tell you why Patrick Graham is on there. Patrick Graham is on there because the Chiefs today on third down were 12 for 16. For your math majors, that's 75%. 12 for 16 on third down. Now, historically, this season, we were one of the best teams on third down. I think we were like second best. Lowest percentage allowed of third down conversions. 12 for 16. These are the type of games where everyone needs to step up. You can't just go in there and say, this is just another week and just another game, just another play. No, people have to go out there and do their job and then a little bit extra. Because 12 for 16, Patrick Graham is now on notice as well. For me, he has a little note to home too. Gardner Minshew turns the ball over again. I think what we're going to see here is a lot of apologists. I mean, if you look at the stats, if you didn't watch if you're like the national media who just looks at stats and highlights and doesn't look at games, Gardner Minshew didn't play too bad, right? I mean, 24 for 30. Pretty good. Pretty damn good. 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 1 fumble. Was sacked 5 times. 3 of those, he ran into 3 of those. Let's just be honest. He ran into 3 of those sacks. He panicked and ran into those sacks. Now, he had a rating of 117.9, almost 118. But again, how does that affect the product on the field? That's what really matters. This gets me to my final notice. And it is a final notice. If Luke Getsy makes it through the bye week and then is still our offensive coordinator following the bye week, I'm going to have to think long and hard about what we're actually doing here. Because what I'm hearing is we're wanting to win, we're trying to win, we want to win games. So if Luke Getsy, when the Raiders suit up in Miami after the bye week, and Luke Getsy is still the offensive coordinator, then I guess we are tanking. Then I guess we're really not concerned about winning. Then I guess what's happening out on the field is good enough. I'm not one of those guys. I don't like good enough. I don't settle for good enough. And right now, from the game planning to the execution to the little details, I think we're just getting by with good enough. I think we have very good players on our defense that can kind of work outside of the scheme because, believe it or not, we played a pretty good damn game. We gave them 7 points at the end after the fumble. But damn it, this offense has the capability of performing much better than it has. All right, I'm trying to stay calm here because this is like just I'm trying to give you guys a show. All right. I'm not trying to sit here and just cuss my head off and you know, I'm sure some of you might like that. Some of you might like the meltdowns and stuff, which is I'm not really close to being a meltdown right now. I'm sort of just like my affect is gone. There's nothing there for it right now. What you see in this offense is a very detailed, effective script. What are we doing with the information? What are we doing with the information we're getting from the script? Or are we looking for any? Or are we just looking to see how cool plays are? That's what it seems like. It seems like we're just drawing up plays and seeing what works. We're not worried about how the defenses are covering certain things, certain formations, certain packages, certain movements. We're not looking at how things are being defensed. We're just calling plays because our first two plays, our first two drives, basically, which is basically our script, right? Our first two drives, 120 yards and 10 points. Not bad. Our next 6 drives, do you guys want to hear something funny? Our next 6 drives, also 3 points in the next 6 drives. We gained 18 yards. In 6 drives! We gained 18 yards in 6 drives. Now, our last drive, which was more of a shooting from the hip, just, throw against the prevent defense, Minshew showed a little bit of capability, and we gained 70 yards on that play and 7 points. There goes your 20. The meat of the game. You want to start well and you want to finish well, but you can't be just a fucking can of olive loaf that you forgot that fell out of one of the grocery bags in your trunk and's been sitting there in the freaking summer heat for freaking 3 weeks. You can't stink it up like that. You can't blame the dog for shitting himself because you don't know what the hell's going on in your trunk. 6 drives in the meat of the game, 18 yards. Now, at this time, Kansas City really didn't do any much either, right? So your defense is keeping you in the game. It was 17-10 and then 17-13. Your defense is keeping you in the game, but your offense is doing nothing. This is not a Kansas City thing. This is not a, Kansas City's really good defensively thing. This is not a, we're missing this person thing. This is not a, we had some penalties thing. This is not a, there was a lot of Kansas City fans at Legion thing. This is not a other thing. This is solely on the shoulders of offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. When you can build a good script, but you can't use that information to help you call plays later in the game, you are useless as an offensive coordinator. Now, you can be a good offensive assistant, right? You can be a good offensive assistant and help the offensive coordinator build that script. But when times get tough, when you have to think with strategy, when you have to think, you have to have some foresight, when you have to take into account not just this game, but historically throughout this year, how has Spags on the other side, how has he defensed these situations? You got to be better. And unfortunately, this is who we have. This is our third choice. I wanted to give the guy a fair, clean shot because that's what I do. I give people a fair shake. I've seen this record. I've heard this record play way too many times. Wow, look at how this started off. Started off a nice drive, right? Then nothing. Sometimes we score late. Sometimes we don't. But it's that meat. It's when the defense adjusts to us is where we have issues. Let's take a look at some stats here, ladies and gentlemen. Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 58 yards. Not many of those catches were like in the second, third quarter. I'll tell you that much right now. Good offensive coordinators find ways to get their players the ball. Although the tight end that will remain nameless has not had a good season, Mahomes and Reid made it a point to get him the ball today. Now, you're telling me that the defense is, that tight end stinks. He's old. He's slow. He can't play anymore. No. They're still defending him. But the Chiefs just did a better job of getting their playmakers the ball. I mean, Bowers 5 receptions on 5 targets. He had 5 fucking targets, dude. Your best player has 5 targets. Your best player by far on offense had 5 targets the entire game. I even saw one play where we had 2 tight ends and we kept one tight end to block, and that tight end was named Brock Bowers. Why on earth would you do that? Why on earth would you put yourself in a situation where he would even be an option to stay in and block on a pattern? If that man is on the field, he needs to be a weapon. That irked me quite a bit. It shows me that there is a lot of throwing their hands up and be like, well, that's what the defense, dictated. No. You dictate what you want to do, and you make the defense adjust to you. Good offensive coordinators do that. They're prepared for what defenses can do, but they don't change what they want to do based off of defense. They still get done what they want to get done. I think we have a big problem up front. I think Jackson Powers Johnson, if he wasn't hurt, he was benched for his penalties. All around, just a very ho-hum, mundane game for us. Not really extra physical, I wouldn't say. Spillane had 12 tackles, but I mean, dude, they ran so many freaking plays. I'm not gonna to applaud Spillane or Merrick, who had 9, Diablo with 7. I'm not gonna applaud these guys for having all these tackles. When you take a look at these drives, 9, 5, that's 14. 13, that's 27. 36. 39. 40. 59. 67. 70. 70 plays. I don't think we had nearly that as many. This was a game that could have helped us going in the future. Hey, this is what works against good teams. We can do this if we do X, Y, and Z. The way we came out, the way we coached, the way we called the game shows me that we don't have very much hope this season. It's going to be pretty rough, for sure. The team looked bad. The team looked bad. Besides the first 2 and the last drive, the team looked really bad. And the numbers show it. I don't know if I've ever seen anything this bad. Even as bad as we were last season running the football, I don't ever remember seeing us 1.6 yards per carry. And maybe that Buffalo game, because that Buffalo game was pretty bad. But I mean, have some pride, Jesus. All right, let's see what we got going here. Antoine Trope. I do not like Getsy's second half. I think I'm assuming you're saying second half calls. I don't either. Again, what are you doing with that information that you're gathering from your script? See, a script is not just supposed to help you score. A script basically is a mix of different formations, personnel groups, and plays that you practice, leading up to the game. So you're very well versed in that set of plays. But You're supposed to gain some information off of how the defense is trying to play you when you make those plays. And however successful or not unsuccessful you are with those plays, adjust how you call those plays in the future. Do you need different formations? Do you need to do different personnel packages? Do you need to scrap a play altogether? What do you need to do? This is a common occurrence with us, starting off quickly, scoring early, and then not scoring for long stretches of time. And that falls at the feet specifically at Luke Getsy. Hang on a second. Someone's texting me, and no one ever texts me. We have a big problem, guys. I don't like losing. I don't like, going out there and just be like, all right, well, let's just go out there. What am I cheering for? What am I rooting for? If I feel like the product that we're putting out there is subpar, and it is, it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. The product that we're putting out on the field. All right, we got this guy right here. Wants to play the I told you so game. We don't do that here. I'm not going to do that today. We're not going to play the I told you so game. We're not going to do that. You want to watch the show? Fine. We're not doing that. All right. What questions do we got around here? Let's see. Start from the very top. Sam the Man, thank you for being a subscriber. AP Getsy Minshew lost this game. I mean, can't argue with that too much. They did quite a bit. It was it's a rough game, man. It was a rough game. It was a very winnable game because I don't know that Kansas City did anything out of the ordinary. That they played a very Kansas City-like game. I think defensively we played pretty good. I wouldn't say really good or excellent or anything like that. We played okay, a little bit better than okay, probably. Other than the defense that we played, our third down defense was atrocious. You can't expect to win. I mean, the third down and the red zone that's where your bread is buttered. That's your money. And we allowed Kansas City 12 for 16 on third downs. You can't have that. Those are plays that are supposed to be drive enders, but couldn't get off the field. That has nothing to do with Getsy. Has nothing to do with Minshew. Has nothing to do with the offensive line. Has nothing to do with Zamir White or Alexander Madison or any of that. That is solely on the shoulders of the defense. Maxx Crosby, where were you today? And I hope he hears this because he needs to. You need to show up in games like this. It's unacceptable. Oh, who are you? What have you done? Well, I'm not saying that I can do it. That's why I'm not out there. But if you want to be one of the best, you got to play better than that. 3 tackles, 2 solo tackles, no tackles for loss, no tip balls, no quarterback hits, no sacks, no praise, no pass. Sorry. Nobody gets a pass on this team. Absolutely ridiculous. Sam the Man, you've been on there long enough. Shima 86. AP should have kicked the field goal after we couldn't punch it in. I'm not going to crush AP for wanting to go for the touchdown, but I find it very interesting. If you guys remember last week, now Kansas City is like one of the better teams in the league against the run. Okay. Last week, we were playing one of the worst teams in the league against the run. So we had the ball on the 4-yard line last week, and we threw the ball 3 times against a very poor run defensive team. We threw the ball 3 times. Remember that, guys? Okay. This week, we're going against one of the best run defenses, and we run at them 3 straight times. Now, I'm not going to crush them for going on 4th down. That was more of a terrible play by Minshew. He kind of like ran into that sack. But goddamn, man, you need to see you can't just expect to line up and beat the team in front of you. I keep saying, I've said this many times. You have to give yourself every advantage that you possibly can with your play calling, with your formations, with your packages, with motion, stuff like that. That's what the good teams do. They have good players, but they also put those good players in really good positions. And unfortunately, last week against the Rams, we didn't play to our strengths and their weaknesses. And this week against the Chiefs, we played towards their strengths and our weakness, which is running the ball. I take a look at this team, and I'm like, this is the best we can do. Professional team, this is the best product we can put out on the field. This is the best we can do. The issue that I'm starting to have here, kind of like if you guys watch, they're an interesting listen. You guys should go on YouTube and you guys should listen to Antonio Pierce's press conference, not just the post-game presser, but the midweek pressers as well. He was asked, which he's asked quite a bit, about penalties. And last week he was asked about penalties, which, we were okay today. We had 5 accepted penalties, which is not great, but, it's not terrible. And he was asked, AP, how do you fix the problem with the issue with penalties? How do you fix the issue with turning the ball over? And he just said, well, the ball is important. The ball is the most important thing. Got to be more secure with the ball. Well, okay, I agree with you. But how does that answer the question? That tells me either he's exhausted everything he knows to do, or he doesn't know what to do. Same thing with penalties. Well, we just got to clean up penalties. Well, how are you going to do that? No answer. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. Anthony Provencio. Oh, couldn't deliver. Well, that's absolutely correct. They couldn't deliver. McBud. Ball breaker. Substitute the field goals for touchdowns again. The O failed. Same shit each week in the red zone. Are you not subscribing to us anymore, McBud? Where's your subscription? God damn it. Raiders Pod. Fire Luke Getsy. I agree. Fire Luke Getsy. Anthony Provencio. Why the fuck do we keep living up in fucking shotgun or lining up in fucking shotgun on the 1 fucking yard line? And the one time that we're under center, we end up passing the ball. I don't know, bro. It doesn't make any sense. That's Sleep 83. Fire Luke Getsy. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, guys, it's a tough situation, man. Harambas Trump, trade AP for a used jock strap. I think we might have to kick in a little bit of money too. Do I necessarily think that AP is the main problem with this team? I don't think so. I think the team is still playing hard. I think we're not putting them in a position to succeed offensively. I think with a little bit more success offensively, it would do a few things. It would help maybe rest the defense a little bit so they're not as susceptible to giving up long drives late in games. And maybe it might give the team a little bit of juice. And, when you're a team that can score points on offense, it changes how other teams play offensively. They can't play the dink and dunk game if they know you're going to get the ball and score. They're going to have to score too. They're going to have that mindset. That can fall in your favor as well. Look, ultimately in a perfect world, right? We will want to have all new everything. New ownership, new coaches, predominantly new players, especially at the quarterback and other positions, right? We want to do that. But Mark Davis isn't going anywhere. And technically, he doesn't even own the team. His mom does. But what can we do? What can we expect? What can happen for us to be able to turn these things around? A lot of those things are pretty self-explanatory. Get a quarterback, build for the future with a quarterback, right? That has the traits, skill sets, and abilities, mindset to want to be a winner. Surround him with things that help young quarterbacks be successful. Really good offensive line, which we don't have. Really good running game, which we don't have. We do have a really good weapon in Brock Bowers. Really good defense. I think our defense is good. I think with Kuntz and Wilkins in there, we would be much better. But the defense is playing hard, and the offense is, they're just making a lot of mistakes. And I think you have to ask yourself, if a group of professional athletes continues to underperform so drastically, is it that they're not being put in a position to make the right plays, or they're just not good enough? I think it's a little bit of both. I think we have severe issues on the offensive line. I think DJ Glaze can get better. I think Jackson Powers Johnson can get better. I think we've seen what we've seen from Andre James. I think he needs to go. Colton Miller had another bad penalty today. He got beat a few times. I think that the offensive line needs to be much better. Because you have to ask yourself this. Was what we've seen offensively, what trust and faith do you have in Luke Getsy that he's going to be able to develop a young quarterback? I personally don't see it. I would really hope that we would move on. I think it's time. I really do think it's time. Andrew James, yeah. Brandon Spencer. Andrew James has to go. Why is he still playing? Who's better? Do we have anyone better at center? What group of five? Because look, let's say you put Jackson Powers Johnson at center, which he played at Oregon, he played center, right? Who are you going to put at guard? Whitehair and Meredith. Parham's hurt. Maybe you put Thayer Munford in at guard. He played guard in college. Maybe he'll play guard. I don't know. There's not a lot of easy answers here. For the most part, the building pieces are really young. Parham's young, Powers Johnson, Glaze. Those are young guys. I think Ryan, and rightfully so. Also, Munford is young. I think James needs to go or be benched. I don't think he's what we need at center. We need someone who's just got more if we're going to be a good, strong running team. And we need more Jackson Powers Johnsons, man. We need more tough guys, more guys that just like being offensive linemen? Uh, Jeremiah Rose, good question. Should Mark sell the team or will Brady help? I mean, I think Brady will help. You have an offensive, a football person who's been a part of franchises, two different ones who've won Super Bowls. He sees, no two teams are going to be the same, even with the same organization. No teams are going to be the same. But you see how things are done. You see the mindset of certain things. You see what's acceptable, what isn't. And that goes to show you how things are across the league because not every team is the same. Because look, Tampa Bay is far from a bad team. Okay, they're a good team. They're going to be right there in the playoff hunt, maybe for the division as well. But I guess Baker Mayfield was saying that Tom Brady was a little bit too, what's the word? Intense, right? Too intense. And players wanted to have more fun. That was Tom Brady already dialed down from how things were in New England. Okay. So what was it like in New England all those years? Pretty rough. And you see that that's not really the way to go either because you take Tom Brady off that team and they just took a nosedive. So the glue was Brady. People want to say Belichick and, whatever. That's fine. Brady went to another team as an older player already and won another Super Bowl. What has Belichick done without Brady? How does this help us? How does this help the product on the field? Well, you go in as Tom Brady, you go in and you just sweep away anything that's not working. A lot of the yes men, a lot of the old players, hey, you know what? You want to be a part of the team? You want to go ahead and go to a lot of the charity events and the golf tournaments and going to the hospitals and the schools and all this stuff and come by the team and talk to the team. That's great. You're not making any decisions. Because no player that we have in that locker room, no ex-player, has anything of value to give us in today's NFL on the field. I understand that we're the Raiders and we do things a little bit different, but maybe we should stop doing things so different because it's not getting us anywhere. From personnel people to coaching to how everything is run, basically. Things need to be tightened up and the mentality needs to be there where winning is the only option. And unfortunately, I think for the last couple of years, the coaching staff has looked so poorly on our offense and our offensive capabilities that they've been playing not to lose as opposed to win. If that makes any sense. So that's how Tom Brady can help. He can be the voice of experience. Like I said, when he bought into the Raiders, he automatically walks in there and has more credibility than any 10 guys when it comes to winning in today's football. And you got to listen to him. If I was Mark Davis, I would listen to him. I would listen to him for sure. But there's going to be a lot of guys. He's not a Raider. He didn't do things our way. What would your dad say? Al was about winning. Al did things a specific way, but you have to understand something. A lot of the things that were so different that Al did, a lot of the other teams started copying after the fact. Now, he was chasing and being very win now mode instead of building another winner. And that's why his team stunk the last 10 years he had the team. Because he was chasing. You can't chase. And That's what happened with Al Davis towards the end. She was chasing another championship. Look at Jerry Jones, just chasing another championship. You got to be patient. You got to build a winner. You got to build from the ground up, build the right culture. And I think because Al Davis had so much success earlier in his career, he thought he still had all the answers, and he didn't. All these guys, because they won in the 70s and 80s, they think they have all the answers, and they're telling Mark Davis, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. It's not working. Bring in a very successful person in the league, have them come in, have them appraise the situation. How should we change? How can we change? We were in this game, man. It's a shame to look at some of these games that we've lost. Could you take a look at some of these games that we lost, man? I mean, that Broncos game was a winnable game. Just that that turnover was a killer. The Steelers game with those fumbles got away from us late, but we were right in it. The Rams game was winnable. This game was winnable. It sucks, man. It sucks. We've lost 4 games in a row, but we could easily be 6-2 instead of 2-6. Pretty rough, man. It's a pretty rough situation here. All right, guys. Give me some of your questions here. We'll finish up with some questions. Johnny Gons, thank you for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated, man. The $5 pat on the back. It really does help. We're here, Soto. Get Ritter up to speed. The Minshew experience has me up to my 25th hate beer. Up to 25 hate beers, excuse me. Can Brady take Minshew with Outback and beat him with a hose? With the unions now, that you can't do that anymore. Even though I know he's not a big of a union guy. Okay, Jeremiah Rose, you have a couple of interesting things. I wanted Harbaugh also. Well, I mean, Harbaugh wasn't going to come here. I don't think he wanted to come here, number one, because I think we were not going to give him full reign of the franchise. I think Mark Davis saw what happened with John Gruden. Then he got in Josh McDaniels, which was pretty much the same thing because you had a kind of a puppet GM in Ziegler. So you had 2 coaches in a row that pretty much ran the entire thing. And he wanted there to be a GM and a coach. And even though they have a GM with the Chargers, Harbaugh's running that entire show. And that's how we wanted it. So I don't think we were going to do that. And they're not really lighting the world on fire either. Another one, Ben Johnson. See the Lions team today. Let me ask you guys a question. You're in your profession, right? And you're working really hard. And you're seen as one of the bright stars in your profession, right? Would you want to work for a company that had a change at the top, but it's got good guts? It's got good framework, right? Like, you know what? This is a good company. We're moving forward here. We just need a couple of tweaks. We got some good players. We got good assets. Or would you want to work for a company who, was really good in the past, but have fallen on hard times, kind of dysfunctional, a lot of turnover at the top? Where would you want to coach? I don't think Ben Johnson wants to come here. And I don't think it really has to do with the quarterback situation. I think a lot of good, young, capable quarterbacks don't want to work for Mark Davis, one, because he's been shown to be very impulsive, but also they just don't see the culture here as being something that they want to get involved with. And then we have nobody to blame but ourselves. I would get Ben Johnson out of our minds and look for someone else, like maybe even a Cliff Kingsbury, who wants to be a head coach again. Look what he's doing over in Washington. Because ultimately, Ben Johnson's going to want to go to a really good situation where he can flourish. He turned down 3 jobs last offseason. 3 head coaching jobs he could have had. He passed on because he wanted the right one, and I don't blame him. Every time that the Lions put up a ton of points, which it did again today, his stock just goes up and up and up. You know, if you had your choice, it's not like in the draft where like the best players go to the worst teams, right? If you're like a hotshot top of your class lawyer from Harvard, are you going to go work for the county? Or are you going to work for like a corporate law firm, make your big money? That's what you're going to do. You're going to go for a better situation. And in Ben Johnson's case, I don't blame him for holding out for that perfect situation. All right, here. Blake Sanchez, I agree, but I still want Ben Johnson. Yeah, I would like Ben Johnson. I would like $10 million in my bank account, but that's not going to happen. Michael F. Stadium sold out. They don't care about winning. That's more so for like the execs and for Mark Davis. Yeah. Dominic 5. They didn't stop D'Amico Ryans from taking Houston job, and they have had 3 coaches in 3 years prior to him. I don't know if you can put on the same level of a prospect coaching wise in the league that D'Amico Ryans was compared to where Ben Johnson is now. The Ben Johnson star is shining a lot brighter than the D'Amico Ryans star was. D'Amico Ryans was just going to take a job wherever he was hired. That's not Ben Johnson. I don't know that D'Amico Ryans turned down other jobs in other seasons to stick around and be a coordinator. I don't know if that was the case. So that's where your logic is kind of faulty there. I understand what you're saying, that a good coach went to an organization that had a bad situation, but that's not the situation that we're looking at right now. D'Amico Ryans wasn't in a position to be as selective as Ben Johnson is what I'm trying to say. Jeremiah Rose, AP needs to get 8 wins, 8 happening. Nope, I don't think so. Yeah, pretty bad. Oh, boy. I'll keep my fantasy Ben Johnson. Well, I did a lot more than I wanted to do today for you guys just because Keith Pardini, how does Kelce get so open time after time? Everyone knows Mahomes looks to go to him. Been doing it for years, but play after play, he's wide open. They have a special connection, man. They actually run plays that aren't in the playbook. Like they'll just react on the fly off of what the defense is doing and just break off the play. Yeah. All right, guys. I know it's been tough. I'm still here. If I got to be here, you got to be here. Okay? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Your boy Soto here is the best thing going today. We're going to have another show this week. I'm going to try to go on live a little bit more. I know I've been slacking a little bit, but it's just really hard, man. It's really hard to go live where the team is just so depressing. It's depressing. So here's the deal. Take your 10 minutes after this show's over. Take your 10 minutes, put your head down, let the anger go through you, let the shame, let the resentment, let the depression go through you. Then get up and have yourself a great rest of the day, guys. All right. Till next time, everybody. Peace.